All right. So, you know, Andrew Callahan has finally responded. There's a few different things that I have here. I have his response, everything going on. Then I also have apparently one of the text messages sent between the girl and Andrew. Um, there's a lot of stuff going on. I thought he was going to respond a few days ago. Ethan made it like told us that he was going to respond like 2 or 3 days ago, noon, or maybe it was like 1 or 2 days ago. I don't. You know what my point? You get my point is.
Mercy super chatted
Um,
$9.99. Happy Friday, nerd.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So yeah, let's kind of get into this whole thing. Andrew Callahan. Jesus, this is what a burnout. Okay, Andrew Callahan. Andrew Callahan, the all gas no brakes host and star of HBO's new documentary This Place Rules, is responding to sexual misconduct allegations against him. Apparently, this was leaked to TMZ specifically. I tried to find like this independent of itself, but claiming one of the alleged victims asked him for serious dough before making her accusation. A legal rep for the journalist tells TMZ Andrew is devastated that he is being accused of any type of physical or mental coercion against anyone. Conversations about pressure and consent are extremely important, and Andrew wants to have these conversations so he can continue to grow and learn. That's fair. It's interesting, though. Ethan made it seem like Andrew effectively admitted it. So there's two possibilities here. Based on the way I listened to it, it seemed more like Andrew had admitted to sleeping with the girls, not necessarily any like implications of any misconduct. Excuse me. Or so I suppose either Ethan just misinterpreted it because he made it seem like they admitted it, or it's true and he's walking it back. I guess those are the two differences there. Adding, while every dynamic is open to interpretation and proper communication is critical from all those involved, repeated requests for money should not be part of these conversations. Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm going to get into the proper communication part in a little bit. For those unaware, Andrew started getting heat on TikTok after a woman named Caroline Elsie or Elise. Yeah, whatever. Sorry if I got your name wrong. Recounted an alleged incident between her and Andrew, claiming he got her consent to sleep together by wearing her down. A source with direct knowledge tells us Caroline requested money from Andrew, referencing the fat check he got from HBO for his documentary. She allegedly asked to be paid out just before the doc aired. When it comes to this wearing down narrative, it's interesting because this is obviously like such a loaded situation, and I still sit on the side where it's like it's good to listen to alleged victims, but it's also good to be, you're innocent until proven guilty. I was looking back at it a little bit. I was talking to my wife a little bit. We're talking about the differences between men and women, how men and women can be a little bit different in different interactions, how men tend to be not a little more direct and also need to be a little more direct, or people need to be more direct towards them. And women are a little bit more emotionally intelligent. And from what I remember, based on what that girl was saying, it was something along the lines of, I kept making excuses as to why I didn't want to sleep with him, and he wore me down. And so this is possibly, and I could be misinterpreting it, but this is possibly a situation where they were together in a room, and she wanted to kind of just hang out, and he wanted to sleep with her. And, maybe he was like, hey, do you want to go to my bedroom we can sleep together? And she's like, well, why don't we just stay here? And to an emotionally intelligent person, right, which women usually are, that means I don't want to have sex with you. To a man, that means let's have sex on the couch. And so, like, that's one of those things where it's like the interpretations of different people of like reading things. And that's why we need to teach, especially young men, to create atmospheres that women can say no. But we also need to teach young women to be very direct in their, communication skills. Because like this is one of those things where it's possible, and I'm leaning more towards this, but I really don't know, that it's a scenario of a guy and a girl engaging together and just very huge miscommunications in like what's going on in the situation. That's what I'm more likely to lean towards. I could be absolutely wrong, but that's how I'm reading it a little more, but I could be wrong. A source with direct knowledge tells us Caroline requested money from Andrew, referencing the fact, yeah, we heard that. We're told Andrew didn't pay up, and Caroline uploaded the TikTok a few days later. We have that text messages, or alleged text message, I guess, urging others to come forward, which is exactly what happened. Here's the trailer for the movie. seems a little uh, okay. Seems a little irresponsible. Well, I don't know. Andrew's legal rep tells us he vows to be better with balanced communication and improve himself, and wants to remind his audience that while even one concerned partner is too many, there are multiple sides to the story. Okay, I mean, listen, he went the legal route, which I don't blame him for. And frankly, I don't want to assert that he absolutely did it. You know? So this happened a while ago, apparently a few years ago. Now, this is the alleged text message. It says here, posted by some user. I don't even know how Reddit works, to be honest with you, who has posted proof of knowing Caroline and content independently corroborated by Hassan on stream through Andrew showing the messages to Ethan. That might be true. Take this with a grain of salt. Here's the thing. One of the things that I wanted to see when she came forward is her messages between her and Andrew, where he said his side of the story to her. And she never released that. And I kind of always wondered why. I wondered if I was curious. I mean, she said, "Oh, I told Andrew about this, and he had a different interpretation of the story." I would have liked to have seen that when she originally came forward. It would have made a little more credible. This might be why she didn't show it to us. Anyway, this says, "I don't really want a response from you because I already know your skewed version of what happened that last time I saw you. I just want you to know that seeing friends of mine promote your new show, which I'm not discounting came with a lot of hard work, hurts me in ways I wish you could feel sometimes. Anyways, if HBO cuts you a fat check and you in any way feel like helping contribute to the massive amount of therapy bills I have incurred due to the night you coerced me and the resulting trauma, my Venmo is such and such, thanks." Now, when I first read this, to me, this does read as a little bit of blackmail. But I also posted this in my Discord general chat, and I had a woman in there say, like, that's not how I read it. And my wife even said that's not how I read it. They were more along the lines of, it sounds like she's going through something. Or maybe she thinks that she's a boss ass bitch or something. And she's like, you should give me money because you wronged me. So again, it's very interesting how I feel like men will interpret this a little differently than women will interpret this. Which is, I think, the entire imbalance of this situation of what's going on. The just different interpretations of seeing the same thing. All of our just having different perspectives on it. It doesn't seem like there's anything other than the Justice message unless Andrew deleted it or whatever. But this is from her. So this is what she sent. So I guess she took the screenshot of that. It definitely muddies the water a little bit, sure, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Ultimately, I think that, first of all, like I said, listen to alleged victims, but also innocent until proven guilty. But more than anything else, I think that the reality here is that our conversations online centralizing around sexual assault are abysmal dog shit. Let's be absolutely honest here. And I do think that and I'm not saying it necessarily applies here, but there are some things that you'll see where it may not have been sexual assault. For instance, when you have like people within reasonable age ranges going like, "Oh my God, this person had a power dynamic over me," but they're like 2 years apart, and saying that person groomed me. That's the conversation online. That's what the conversation online is. Everything is grooming now. Back in the day, we had this thing called groupies, where if you were a fan of somebody, you would want to have sex with them. We have that same thing online. I'm not saying this is that, but now that's called a power dynamic, grooming, and sexual assault. And so I'm just saying, fundamentally, overall, the conversation online about sexual assault is like really bad. It's not proper. It's not constructive. And I think that it could possibly be causing people to think that they've been sexually assaulted when it's more like they may have been put in like a really uncomfortable situation, or the communication just wasn't there properly. So like I said, I think that we need to teach people in general, usually young men, because they have the physical power dynamic, strength dynamic, to create more spaces for women to say no. And we also need to teach people, especially young women, to be more direct in their communication, because I think that men need more direct communication. They're dumb. So there you go. That is how it works. I know that you're going crazy in the chat. Sorry, but when can you give consent and then a few months later take it back? That's not what she alleges. What she alleges is that he wore her down to get consent. Right? Those are two different things. Pay attention. Okay. Now the way that he wore her down, that's where I'm kind of going. Did he keep saying, "Can I have sex with you?" She's like, "No, no, 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 no." But what she made it seem like in her messages or in her TikTok was that she kept kind of making excuses. She uses the words "making excuses." I was making excuse, and there's a difference between saying no versus making excuses for somebody, or like making an excuse is like, "Hey, I got to leave the party. Yeah, my dog died." Versus like, "I don't want to be here." It's more open to interpretation. I don't know the specifics of what's going on. I don't know what happened in that room. I'm sure that she has some very valid frustrations, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he actively sexually assaulted her. So they had the conversation around like the educational aspect of this so that it doesn't happen in the future with other people is more constructive here. Make sure you get express consent from people. You could ask a girl before you even kiss her. You don't have to be a nerd about it. You can say, "Hey, can I steal a kiss?" Okay. For men, be more open to those kind of excuses. You know what I mean? Like if a girl's like, if you're like, "Hey, you want to go back to my bedroom?" And she's like, "No, I'd rather stay here." Don't take that as a sign that she wants to fuck you on the couch. Maybe be like, "Oh, do you not want to have sex?" You can, we've got to meet in the middle more. We got to meet in the middle. Be more direct, ladies, and men, be a little bit more emotionally intelligent. Not just a little bit more. Be more emotionally intelligent. So that's kind of where I end that.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.